In this tutorial, we're going to create a simple animation application using SnapCode. So with SnapCode launched, I'll go ahead and click the New Project button, and I'll name it My Project, and I'm going to select the type Snap Studio Application and click OK. And this creates the new project, and I'll go ahead and click Open. And so it brings up a new empty application, and it's got a scene in it, and the scene is empty. So I'll start by going down to the Add New Actor button. And when I click that, I get a list of actors to choose from. And I'll go ahead and select Duke and click OK. And it puts Duke into the scene and adds an actor class over here for Duke. And I can just position Duke on the screen wherever we want him. And so now I'll select Duke. And we see that Duke has two main pieces of code here, two methods, the main method and the act method. So the main method just gets called as soon as the application is launched, and it sequentially executes instructions. So I could drag an instruction like move by, or I can put in a loop. So I might drag in this loop here and go back to methods, and in the loop I'll do the move by, and after each move I'll go ahead and tell it to show a frame. And let me change the loop to be 99. And so just with that, if I hit run, it'll execute our application, and there's Duke. And Duke runs 99 times through the loop, moving by 10 each time. So, so that's a simple animation, but let's go ahead and remove all this and take advantage of the act method. Now the act method gets called for each frame in the application, and it's got an automatic show frame after it. So we can do those kind of effects a lot simpler. So I'll just drag in turn by 10 here. And so now when I run, it launches the application, and Duke is just going to spin every frame of the application by 10 degrees. So let's close that and go back to the scene. And now I'm going to say Add New Actor. And this time I'm going to choose the car and click OK. And I'll position the car down here. And I'll go down to the code for the car. And in its act method, the first thing I want it to do is move to the right a little bit. And then I want to scale it down a little bit. So I'll say scale by, and I want to scale it by 1%, so 0.01, and I'll go negative so it'll get smaller. And so just with these two, I'll go ahead and hit run, and it runs our application, and our car moves across the screen and gets smaller as it goes by. So I'll go ahead and close this, and now I want to add a conditional to that. So I'll go to blocks, and I'll drag and drop in the if statement. And the conditional I want, I'll change this to say if x, or get x, is greater than 600. So if it goes off the end of the screen, then I'll go back to methods. I want it to scale to, or set scale to 1. So that's going to reset it to full size. And then I want to reset the location. So I'll just have it move by -600, which will bring it back to its start spot. So just with that, I'll go ahead and hit play. And this launches our application, and our car moves across the screen, and as it gets to the end, it pops back. So, so with just some drag and drop of these chips, we've created a nice little application here with our animation in it. So what's interesting though is to see how this correlates to real programming. So, so the first thing I can do is I can switch from our Studios view here that conveniently shows our all the pieces of our application in a more user-oriented form. I can switch over to project, and we can see what kind of project files we have. So here we have the car, and then we have Duke and scene, and they're all Java files. And then up in the upper right-hand corner of our SnapCode editing screen, we see a button for Java code. So I can click here, and we see that we have a main method that's empty, and we have our act method that does the move and the scale, and then it's got the conditional. If it's over 600, if x is over 600, we reset the scale and the move. And so it's easy to pop between the snap code, where we can build the code simply, and the actual code. And then as we select different parts of the program, we see down here the path of selections. So we have a statement for our set scale, and that's inside of an if statement, and that's inside of our act method, and that's inside of the class. And so just by clicking around, we can see the parts of the program, of the source file that we've written. And then if we move from here to Duke, Duke just has a turn, and if we go back to the Java code, we see that turn by method there. And then same thing with the scene. If we go to the scene and to SnapCode and pop over the Java code, and I have to do a refresh here, we see the add actor for Duke and add actor for the car. And if I go to the SnapCode, we see the actual Java code for that. So, so this has been a demo of our application, and I'll go ahead and run it one more time. And we see our application again.